Are we live now?
I just hit broadcast. Sorry. So, and I am also uh, I'm gonna broadcast it to a Facebook group too, if you don't mind. So the
We
lead.
don't mind at all.
Okay.
Can you broadcast
So,
it to our Facebook group? Or you
what's
can only
that?
do one? Can you broadcast our Facebook group or you can only do one?
I only can do one, and I'm not an admin of your group.
I'll share it after.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So give me a.
This is cool. I'm really excited.
Okay. So give me about 30 seconds here, and I'm gonna do a live on Facebook. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome.
Let's do it.
Woo!
I'm gonna watch it.
You can tag us in the live, right? And it'll.
Okay. So I'm gonna do. So are you a part of the lead generation?
The Cole Realty page?
No, it is by Aaron Wittenstein. It's a Keller Williams guy.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah.
I know that group.
So I'm gonna do that one. So hold on.
Isn't it lead gen scripts and objections
Yep.
with the green logo?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. I'm getting on it right now. Share group.
Yeah, we're part of it.
Yep. Okay. So we'll be streaming there in about 15 seconds.
Just the green one.
And I'll give you a heads up when we're good.
All right. This is
All
so
right.
cool.
So it's still populating.
I hope we get you guys a lot of
Business?
business
We'll send people your way too. People call us all the time off our YouTube channel.
all the time.
Ask us about the systems we use. We're able to send bulk and a bunch of leads too.
Perfect. All right. So it's going to be live here in about 10 seconds. Okay, guys?
Oh, we can, yeah. Your boy Ren, you love that dude.
Oh, I love Ren.
I love Ren. Ren's a great guy. I know him really well, too.
You do?
Yep.
Yep.
Can you send us
put a
an
good
email
word for
intro?
us?
I will. He's great.
My brother loves Ren.
I watch this show all the time, man. I'm like, I can't wait till I'm on the show.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we are live, everybody. My name is Tyler over here at Cole Realty Resource. Super excited to have our next guests on. Cole, if you guys have never heard of us before, we've been around for 70 years. We provide cell phone numbers and email addresses for specific neighborhoods. But I want to introduce these two guys because you've been customers on and off of ours for a decade or so, multiple years.
Yeah, just about as long as we've been in real estate. I'm Arthur. This is my brother David.
How are you?
We're
All right.
a realty group out of Boston. Like you said, yeah, we've been using Cole for over a decade now, off and on.
Mostly
right.
on. Mostly on.
Mostly
All right,
on.
perfect. And what I love about it is, hey, we found out about you guys because you've used our product over the years with a lot of success. You're on a lot of Facebook groups. You just said that you had a YouTube channel that has 100,000 views on it. I mean, so people are always asking you, well, what are you using? How are you taking it to the next level? How are you creating your leads? And through that process, you dropped Cole's name over the years, which obviously we love referrals. We're in the kind of the same business as you. So I reached out to you guys and said, hey, let's just jump on a broadcast together. Let's just talk through what you're doing and why you're having so much success and just provide some extra content for our clients. So yeah, so tell me a little bit more about you guys and what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been selling real estate in the Boston, greater Boston area for about 10 years. And
Okay.
one of the things we decided to do last year is we started to shadow mega agents and figure out what they're doing.
Right.
You know, and we actually just got Cole back because we realized we were getting so many deals and so many opportunities. And it's a huge, huge opportunity to call around those listings and really get
Right.
more. And this guy is really the phone beast. So
Right.
with the YouTube video that has 100,000 views that people call and ask questions all the time.
And
Sure.
towards the end of this interview, I'll tell you my best, most awesomest story of how I got an actual closed business check, a deal from the Cole Realty. It's an amazing story. So
All right. I'm excited to hear it. So yeah, I guess just start from the very beginning, guys, so you got a Cole subscription, you grab a neighborhood, but tell me about your strategy, right? So calling around listings, sold, like where do you start? What are you doing?
yeah, so we're definitely doing just listed and just sold calls.
Okay.
Any neighborhood that we want to take over specifically,
Okay.
we start calling them directly, looking for
Okay.
buyers, looking for sellers. You know, so
Okay.
definitely do those three things. What else would you say?
I think that in the beginning, what worked well in the very, very, very beginning, probably more like 8-10 years ago, is we used to call it just listed and just sold. But people, we went to our manager, we're like, we have no listings. He's like, yeah, but when a listing gets on the street, 2 to 3 will sell within a week or a month or 3 months.
And isn't that the truth?
That is the truth. So we started in the beginning. We used to bang around the new listings for the office. We used to just bang the phones and just see if we could get anything out of it. And you would be surprised at how receptive people would be, because we built our business on expired listings and for sale by owners.
Right.
Very difficult, and people are getting 1,000 calls. These just listed, just sold calls.
It's incredible.
Nobody's calling them.
Right, you're exactly right. So I kind of tell. I love the story that I tell once in a while is that years ago I was at a big Mike Ferry event, right? And so
I love Mike Ferry.
Mike Ferry, he's there talking about Cole and be prospecting. So I'm at an event. Jeff Hallam's was the agent's name. I'm at a cocktail hour, and he bumps my shoulder. He's like, "Hey, you're the Cole guy, right? I just made $12,000 from you guys last week." And I was like, "Oh, do tell." And one of the things he talked about is like he never believed in the whole calling around a just listed, just sold, because he just like, really? And he couldn't believe how nice everybody was when he made those phone calls, because he was used to calling the expireds and FSBOs that have, he might be
right.
Call them. They're just it's a different attitude, right? Versus when you're calling to let everybody know about a just listed, it's excitement, right? And letting them know what their potential home could be valued at if they want to list their house as well. So if it is your listing, what's just a general script that you guys use, just off the cuff here?
Yeah, so pretty much it's like ring, ring, ring. Hey, this is Arthur. I would just call him because we listed a house right in your neighborhood. It's 3 beds, 2 bath, and it's going for $500,000. We're doing an open house just for all the neighbors. If you'd like to come by on Sunday, and then after you make that introduction, people will generally be very interested or not. Right? So they're either like, leave me alone, I don't care. Or they start asking you questions about the listing. And when they the listing, you're simply just trying to convert, right, and see if that's a potential lead. Hey, I'm just curious, Tyler, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? And they open up and they start telling you, have you ever thought about moving, or are you going to be, and then you kind of go from there and figure out, is that a warm lead? And every once in a while, and he'll tell you a story at the end, you'll convert to an appointment, and then you get the listing, you sell the house right away. And that's beautiful. But really, if you're only focused on that, you won't be happy because
it's really the nurture.
Yeah, you're looking for
nurture.
Nurture, exactly. Name, address, email, and then follow up. Even if they're that's a potential seller.
Right. So talk through me. What do you guys do then? If you get somebody, so you make that phone call, and let's just say you make 100 phone calls, and 20 people answer their phone, right? And of those 20 people, of the 15 people who don't seem like they want to talk to you, are you still getting their email addresses and stuff for those people? And for the 5 people who kind of seem like they might want to talk more, what's the next steps for those?
So it's pretty easy, right? Like maybe you get 1 out of 50 or whatever it is that's actually ready to go. So that's pretty straightforward. You just book an appointment.
Right.
Everybody else, if they're warm and they're asking questions and you figure out they do want to sell, maybe get more information about the house and do want to sell in the future, you get their phone number, their email, and their address, which you already have. Right away when we hang up, we send them a handwritten thank you note with a business card and our magnet, and just say thank you so much for talking to me. And then we put them in our CRM to follow up, which we use Boomtown specifically. But you could use any kind of system that you like.
Well, I think earlier in our career too, you have to understand we've been doing this for a long time, right? So in the beginning, we didn't have follow-up systems, and we had all the time in the world. So what we would do is, assuming we were good at getting the information, all I would do is like send a card, follow up, give them a market update. I mean, the calls, the people that are responsive, the calls are so easy. They're so easy, and it's, we built the business on expireds and for sale by owners, and Cole was the third thing we did. After we called all the other leads. And I think what happens is, if you do it for long enough and you do it strategically, you don't need a follow-up system. You just put in your Google Calendar and just follow up with them. And I'll tell you what, by the end of the year, you're going to be shocked at how much business you're going to do.
You're exactly right. I mean, and then especially if you do it consistently and knowing your numbers game. Okay, I made 100 calls. Okay, now can I make 200 calls? Okay, I made 200 calls this week. What if I make 400 calls this week? And then once you have your systems down and know your numbers down, okay, I'm going to call 500 people. Of those, 15% might answer. Of those, and then it's just a numbers game. And now it's dedicating time. And then you get to a point where, okay, do I need to, if I can't do this anymore, do I hire an ISA, right? Or do I hire a VA who can get the 3 hours of prospecting for me? And all of a sudden now it's a sustainable business. And what I like to talk about it is, yeah, you can buy leads and you probably can convert those leads.
Yeah.
So what's your ROI on that sort of stuff, right? When you're buying and spending thousands of dollars on those leads, whereas what we're talking about is a pretty high ROI, right?
It's literally the most cost-effective way to make business in the beginning of your career,
right?
Your career, or in the longevity of your career.
Right.
I just think it's the least expensive thing you can do for the biggest return, hands down.
Yeah, and if you got an ISA or a couple of ISA calling, I mean, you could take over neighborhoods, you could take over territories, and they could fill you with more leads than you could probably handle.
Which our business started growing so big that we ended up hiring an ISA, and we still call, but now our ISA handles all that, and actually we just took the listing, so it's incredible, Eventually the thing builds its own legs,
Yep, exactly. And then as long as you know your numbers and keep on feeding the animal, right? And then you're going to know the results that you get from it. So
the biggest thing I realized with Cole is you just cannot stop. If once you stop, it's like putting a pause in your business 3 to 4 months from now. You just got to be consistent.
So just a quick backstory on that, like why people stop. I'll share our story on why we stopped and the negative impact that it had on us. So we were calling, we got in business. We got so busy that so at the first point, we called through all expireds and physicals. Like, who else are we going to call?
Yeah.
So we got Cole. Yeah. We started calling through those leads. Then we got so much business, we got so busy that we stopped calling, right? So we're just calling whoever we could get to. Hot lead, expireds, physicals. We're like, we haven't used Cole for a couple months. Let's cancel.
Right.
Like that doesn't, now you're taking a step back. And eventually we realized we can't call all the leads ourselves. We hired an ISA, and now he's blowing through the expireds and physicals.
Right.
We're still doing the lead follow-up, and he's going like, hey, guys, I need more numbers to call. So what did we do? Where did we go?
Yeah, we were like, the stupidest thing we did was cancel Cole.
Yeah.
It's like unlimited. The amount of business, if you stay up 24 hours a day and just call, you can make money.
And the beauty is nobody's calling these people, right? So they're never angry. They're never frustrated. Your ISA doesn't have to have extreme level of skills because they're really friendly phone calls, right?
Really friendly.
It's having a conversation at that point.
It is.
But I'm sure you're arming your ISA with the right scripts, and then especially the follow-up, questions like, oh, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? Oh, great. What do you like about the neighborhood?
Yeah, right.
And then at some point, if they say, yeah, we love the neighborhood, but all our friends are moving away, it's really turning over because, we've been here for 20 years, that's probably a buy-in sign, right? Or if they talk about, hey, yeah, renters moved across the street and they never take care of their lawn, a buy-in side, and then you start having conversations with folks. So if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit about, a few formulas to success that we hear from some of our clients as well. And I interviewed Greg Harrelson a while back. I
watched that interview. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I love Greg, right? And he's been a client of ours on and off over for a decade as well. And so he talks about how to be a community dominator. And I just love how it's kind of a sexy term to it, right? How do you dominate a community? And so, he'll take it to the next level, right? Of, call around a just listed, call around a just sold, call around an open house. But what other things can you do to provide value? So he'll talk about, hey, you know what? If you really want to dominate a farm, how about you do some sort of community thing for the whole neighborhood and invite them to it, right? Maybe it's a movie in the park.
Oh, wow, that's good for that community.
Yeah, for that community. Maybe it's collecting food for the People's City Mission and offering to go door to door that you'll be in their neighborhood on Thursday at, between 2 and 4. Put some food in the front, in a bag, and we'll make sure to deliver it to the People's City Mission and let them know it's from the Pine Oak subdivision, right?
That's a great idea, right? That's incredible.
And again, and I like to bring that up because it goes in what you're saying. It's conversation. It's non-confrontational, right?
At all. It's like so non-confrontational.
right? And then what he does is, with Cole, we'll have an email address for about half of all households. He'll
Right.
have all the emails for a specific neighborhood that he's, wanting to own. And he'll put in the subject line, if the subdivision name is Pine Oaks, he'll put, Pine News,
Yeah.
provide content each, either once a month or twice a month to everybody in that neighborhood. He'll provide, what homes are selling for, what they're listing for, if home prices are up or down. And he'll talk about, hey, I don't send out recipes to my grandma's chili, right? I don't let people know about daylight savings time because that's not real estate related. That's just fluff. I want to provide them actual content with me as being the industry expert. So what are your thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, I haven't heard about that idea, but I do really like the thought of going super hyper local. And what Cole allows you to do is do just that. Because, like, if, for example, we have a subdivision or a town in our market, like Malden, for example, or Boston or Greater Boston, we could pick up and just literally tear apart street by street and call that and take over a community or a market pretty easily. But I haven't heard that idea, and I think that's an excellent idea.
I think it's awesome. And the other thing, too, is Cole has come such a long way. I remember when we first signed up, I don't think we got, like, the emails and the cell phone number.
Nope.
Like, they've come, that's like recent stuff.
Well, it's funny. So I've been here for 15 years, guys, and I remember sitting in a conference room maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's crazy how the years just run together now. And we had a big picture of Blockbuster printed out on our wall. And how do we not become the next Blockbuster, right? How do you be, they're irrelevant and they were going out of business. That can't be
pretty motivational, right? You see that, you're like, oh.
Yeah. And so it was, hey, I was going to these events and people are telling me, gosh, we need cell phone numbers, guys. Landlines are gone. We need cell phone numbers. So we found sources out there, and because of our, we've been around forever, we found partnerships where we could provide unlimited. We don't have to cap our clients on 500 cell phone numbers or 2,000. It's unlimited. And then the same thing. Okay, how do we get emails? So we had to go forge those partnerships to provide emails as well. And now some of the newer things we're doing is providing information like credit range and length of residence, some things like that, where if you wanted to, target a certain age of people within a subdivision and have your messaging that way, you could do that as well. And so, yeah, I might just bop in if you don't mind, guys, and just do a quick little tour.
Yeah, let's do it.
Itself, and so that people can kind of get an idea of how that works. So as I went into my calendar here, so let me do this again.
Make sure you send that email. Don't forget.
Yeah.
I'm saying, guys, we're live. So give me a second.
Yeah, the other thing too, while you're looking that up, the other thing I do with Cole, now that I think about it, is I look at, because you can look how many years people own the real estate.
Yep.
What kind of real estate, right? Like if I want to call specifically 2-family or multifamily,
yep.
Hit a tab and just look up that stuff. If you want to just do single family or just people that own their houses for 10 years more. Yeah, I mean, you could
my screen.
More than like 1,500.
Right. So we can. We have some ways off.
Oh no way!
Off time where I can max it, and it isn't limited. Our issue is we usually make it a 1,500 at a time download limit because otherwise it would kill our servers. Everybody was downloading 10,000 names at a time.
That makes sense.
But essentially, guys, anybody who's never
being pretty good, it actually ends up being pretty good because not all of them end up being phone numbers. So you end up calling like 700 to 800 people.
Yep. Exactly. So essentially how it works, guys, if you're an agent, you'd get your own login credentials to the state that you live in, state access, right? So I live in Nebraska. It's going to ask you for a starting point address or an entire zip code. I could say, hey, I want everybody who lives in this zip code, give me all the data, right? Or I could put in a starting point address and hit search. And then within seconds here, it's going to tell me who lives at that address.
Boom.
Map it out here. So I could say I want everybody, kind of this Edenton South neighborhood.
Yeah, I love that. That's the best. I use that map search every time, all the time.
Right. And that list could be 500 or 5,000, depending on how big of an area that you prospect, right? Or that you mapped. And so you can see here, we get their names and addresses, a home phone where we have it, cell phones, and emails. But now I can even take this list and I can actually add some additional things to it. So for example, I want the people's,
That's cool. I didn't even, yep.
I want their credit range. Maybe I want to know just a profile of kind of an idea of what their credit rating is, their home value. There's lots of things here, like if they like
length of residence or something like
and
that.
length of residence is what I was going towards. Yep. But their lender names, lots of different things here that you could possibly add to your list.
Yep.
I'm going to hit submit. And then within a few seconds, same list, but now I kind of have a bird's eye view of how old the people are that live there, their credit rating,
And if you click at any one of the tabs, it'll look it up by that. It'll organize it by that specific tab.
Yep. You can sort or just download the list, put it into Excel, and boom, I'm off and going and make this list actionable, right?
And then I gotta say, one of the beauties of this, which makes it super easy, if you have Vulcan 7 or Mojo, you can click automatically import to that system.
It goes right in.
Press that, so you eliminate the step of downloading the CSV file, brushing it up and uploading it. It's right in your system. You get in the morning, 5 minutes prep time, and boom, you're off and running.
Yep. So we're integrated with all the major dialers, right? And I'll say I bet about half of our customers use us with the dialer and half don't, right? And so it depends, because I'll still say, you can go lock yourself in a room and for 3 hours and hand dial, and make a lot of phone calls. And then get your systems down, get your scripts down, get comfortable. And then when you want to take it to the next level, right? And you instead of want to making 100 dials, when I do 200 dials, is a dialer, right? And then
from a contact standpoint, I count, like, we know our numbers really, really well. So at best for expireds, if you're really working it, you're not taking too many bathroom breaks, consistently you'll probably hit about 10, right? 8 to 10. If you're doing 4 or less, you're pretty lazy, right? But with the Cole Realty Resource, you can easily hit like 20 people an hour.
Right.
Because everybody answers their phone, you know what I mean? And it's just like, the ratios are so
correct. And especially if you're calling someone on their cell phone, they're seeing a local phone number, right? That helps a lot as well. And you're not the 80th person to call them that morning because they're expired.
You're probably the first and only.
Right. So then as you're providing value, that your conversation isn't just, hey, do you want to sell your house? It's providing some, having a conversation with them. Let them know about the excitement. Let them know. I have clients that will call into neighborhoods and let them know that they have buyers looking even. Hey, I have a great family that love to live in your neighborhood. Their in-laws live in your subdivision and they're looking for anything that, has 4 bedrooms or more. Would you happen to know of anybody who's looking to sell? Right. It's very non-confrontational. And then having a conversation.
Yeah, right, absolutely. It's a super easy phone call to make. Nobody's calling them, and that's just the point. At the end of the day, you just pick up the phone and you're having a conversation. It's easy. Right. And most people are so curious about the real estate in their neighborhoods. It's unbelievable. So before you even finish your first sentence, they're asking you like, "Oh, how many bedrooms did that house have? Was it renovated? Right. Oh, can I come take a look at it?" You're like, sure.
Exactly. Yep. And as long as you're being the industry expert, that's the way to go, right? So and then it's a numbers game. So you made it sound like you had one where you got to tell me about that story. This
is a good one.
Right? Because once in a while, it's just going to happen where they're going to be like, "Hallelujah! I can't believe you called." Right? So tell me.
It's kind of like a phone call. I deleted this lead after I got it, by the way. So we had an expired listing that I got that ended up not selling. In the time that we listed it, I called the neighborhood with the Cole Realty Resource.
Right.
So whoever was a hot lead, this was earlier in our career, whoever was a hot lead, I would basically send them a note, put their name in my Google Calendar, before we got all the systems we have now.
Yep.
And I'd send her a note. I'd send her what you said, except with a note and a call, a market update. I'd be like, this is what's going on within you. This is what's going on within you. And then one day I called her and I was just like, I talked to her, but I was just like, you know what? This lady's never going to sell her house. Just never going to do it. Right. So I delete the lead. About a month later, I'm walking out of this office right here to my car. And as I'm walking to my car, my phone rings. And the other thing I did is I would save everybody's phone number and their name once I called them. So if they ever call me, I just pick up and say, hey, John, hey, Joan.
Yep. Build that rapport instantly. Yeah. Love it.
Right. So that works magic. Right. So I get a phone call and a lady calls me and it's her. Right. Her name is June. So she goes, hey, I'd like for you to come over here and tell me what my house is worth. And I'm going, who the hell is this?
Right.
In my head, I'm running through everybody. Right, so I say to her, hey, how did you get my information? You know?
Right.
And she goes, what do you mean? You sent me a card. And surely enough, I went into the house. I was the only agent in the house. And I had just deleted this lady, by the way, after it was a good lead. You know, all I had to do was follow up.
Right.
And I go into the house. It was the easiest listing appointment. I walk out. The lady signs the contracts. It was a done deal. We sold the house, and it was incredible. I was like, that was the deal that let me know how easy it could be. So if I had 100 ladies, people that I was calling and strategically following up with, it's just
and I mean, from the time he called her initially to the time that he listed her, had some time it went by. Like he would call her all the time. It's like, hey, John.
Probably at least like 9 months.
Yeah, you're thinking about something now. She's like, no. He's like, okay, great, and he'll send her a market update or no. Hey, you thinking about doing something else? And then he always does it. He's like, I'm just gonna delete this lady. I'm tired of calling her. He deleted it. She called him. Went in, got the listing. We sold the house. It was a great deal. You know, great price, full commission, absolutely.
And I didn't have to compete with other agents. That's the thing. Number one is don't delete anyone ever, which I still do, but I don't know. Apparently there's some magic to that too. But I think don't delete anyone and just have a good follow-up system. But what I was doing with this lady is just adding value. I wasn't calling her being like, she's got to list her house. All I did was call her and just say, hey, this is what's going on in the neighborhood. The house that I had didn't sell or did sell. Or follow the numbers. And that was my phone call. It was the easiest thing.
To your point, Tyler, it's really all about adding value, being there for people and helping them, being that resource that whenever she decided she's ready to make a move and she's ready to sell, the logical choice for her to call was this guy. And it just
And I've read studies that show that, you know, like 70% of all sellers will only interview one agent to list and sell their home, right? So it goes back to what are we doing as agents today to get in front of those guys?
And I think a lot of people that prospect don't realize that because every time they go on an expired listing, they're competing with 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I met a guy who's like, I'm interviewing 10 agents. I'm like, what is wrong with you, right?
But
most sellers are not expired listings.
You're exactly right.
They're ready to sell, and they're like, who's the resource that I'm going to call to meet with? And unless you butcher that, they're probably not going to meet 10 other people.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And that's just a different animal, right? Because I would guess a lot of those expireds, the very first time they were on the market, they only interviewed one agent, right? So the next time they're like, ooh, I'm going to interview more. So
now they had a bad experience.
And they're skeptical, right? It's just it's a different strategy for both. But I think generally speaking, if two people started off in the same place, one started calling expireds and another one started calling leads from Cole and building their database, I'm sure the one from Cole, if they did it right, could win if that was a competition within a year's time frame, you know?
Long-term nurtures, I mean, those are no-brainers.
I love it. Long-term nurtures. I love it. That's exactly what it comes down to. Well, hey, we're at about a half hour of content, guys. I think that's a lot. And I appreciate it because that was some info. I automatically want to schedule another call just because I think I could be thinking about this for, another half hour or hours. So I love it. Everybody, we've created a partnership now with these guys. So make sure to mention David and Arthur's name when you call in. If you want to get our best pricing, we actually have now a new pricing of a monthly option of just $99.95 per month.
Any new agent,
a monthly option. Wow.
We just launched it. We have a 3-month commitment, so you have to get in there and at least pay for 3 months and go download your lists. I don't know how long we'll keep that going, but if you're thought about doing it, now's the time to do it.
I would recommend everybody just get it because it's just incredible to have access to all that information. And it's really not a lot of money, you know?
Yeah. And the other thing I'll mention is too, the markets change. So sometimes, you know, like when we started 08, 09, there was 100 expireds a day. Now that it's a hot market, you might get 5 a day. So it's falling for the rest of the day, right? So you need more numbers. You need more options. You need better strategy.
Yeah, you're right. And you can't just sit back. I mean, and especially during a shifted market now, you just can't sit back and wait for rely on your database for referrals. So now roll up your sleeves and go earn it. And which I think is, if you're a full-time agent who's willing to invest in your business, it's exciting for you because it's not really even a shift. It's like it's a correction.
We're excited because we started in 09 and it was a brutal market. So
this is incredible. I think right now is the best time if you were to do the Cole right now, would probably be the best time.
Yeah. Right. So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Again, our number, guys, is 800-800-3271. Call us up today if you want more information. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Tyler.